We can go.
We are live.
Hey everybody.
So my thing still says off air.
Well, we are live. We're probably going to come live any moment now.
Oh,
there we
there we
go.
go. Okay, now it's up.
Now I'm waiting for YouTube.
We are very
Hey
much up.
everybody.
Okay.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
All right. I hope somebody has, and I didn't make one.
Well, previously how we did this is that the storytellers or GMs say how they felt things went, and then the player council gets to weigh in with any issues, was the general format.
Alright.
Okay.
Michelle,
Second.
go first.
Trying to bring up the well, I guess I can do that later. As far as how the last game went, we had some logistical hurdles that we have discussed ways
Sorry.
to alleviate.
I should probably also go get some earbuds or something.
And again, I found an app that allowed us to get people signed in, and that helped me after the game to get people's area of more efficiently. That was pretty great. And can you guys yourself, because I'm hearing a pretty bad echo. There were some issues with the actions that we had logged, but we were able to take care of those pretty quickly, and then go around and help people to resync so that stuff would work again. And that's basically really some things could have gone better, but we were able to deal with them pretty well when they presented themselves, and that's really all I have to say right now. Todd, you're still muted. Unmute yourself.
Yeah, I don't think I really have anything to add. I'm actually not feeling very well right now, so I'm gonna probably not be saying very much. Just y'all go on.
Okay. So, player council, do you have anything that any players besides yourselves brought to you? Let's start with Bryce, since I can't see him.
I'm here.
Did anybody come to you with any issues or problems?
There was a brief discussion that I had with some players towards the end about ways we could make it easier to include new players.
Mm-hmm.
Addressing it from we really went over addressing it from a multi-directional point of view. So some of the mechanics make it difficult to include new players because as much of a survival game as it is, it'd be rough when a lot of people want to come in and play their concepts, and then they get handed a bunch of menial tasks because otherwise we all die. and in turn, that's bred a kind of culture in the players that makes it harder to share knowledge from the old hands to the new players as well.
Mm-hmm.
But we've got a lot of the old hands and Eric Benton and Jack Weeks, myself. Who else was in there? Oh man, I think Shing was in there. Cameron Merkshing. Am I missing anybody that I can't remember off the top of my head? All of us that were sitting there, but we're working on putting together efforts on.
So I apologize for interrupting. Go ahead.
Well, you helped me remember that Samuel Phelps was there too. But we discussed it, and we're going to work together to better steer the game, the colony's culture, to better allow the inclusion of new people that drop in a way that doesn't, I guess, trap them as lumberjack slaves.
So one of the things that you think might help, based on what you're saying, is some way that's easier to share knowledge, like for instance, how to build stuff. Would that assist?
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of, I guess, tips and tricks that we've learned. Things like I know Sam worked hard to put together an enormous workflow that details all the steps that it takes to get from nothing to caseless rounds. And it's not really intuitive. And we don't have a good way of imparting information to players about what their skills specifically allows them to do if they don't have literally all the things in their inventory at that moment to do whatever it is they want to do. So
if you guys had a recipe card sort of thing system, as opposed to the current system where it just shows what's what you can currently do, would that help?
Yeah, if we had some kind of reference that people could plan further or future actions on and know what they should go gather so that they could be useful, that would be really helpful, I think.
I think that we've had requests for a recipe system in the past as well.
Right, we can move forward as part of the revisions coming through towards that. We can prioritize that. There is going to be an increased amount of work on the app and the website moving forward into the summer. Or into the spring, rather. So we can make sure that gets on the list.
Okay.
Do you have any other topics besides that, Bryce?
No, I think that's the majority of what was brought up to me.
Okay. Who wants to go next?
I'd like to sort of bounce off of what Bryce said, because if that's okay, if nobody else has anything major.
Go ahead.
Did I lose connection? Okay, good. I also had related to and knowledge I was talking to on Saturday night, who actually left on Sunday because they felt like a lot of I think they had other stuff they had to do. That wasn't the entire reason, but they were frustrated because they walked into town and nobody really talked to them, nobody really asked them, what they could do, and they were kind of just looking around like, hey, what should I do? I need something, somebody tell me something.
Okay.
So
were you
if we
involved?
had some sort of set. I know that.
So this goes along the lines of what Bryce was talking about,
Yeah,
for
exactly. I'm
including
building on
new.
that.
Okay. So, were you aware that there's a so basically one of the things that we can do to help is to widen out this effort for including new players and helping new people get involved and instructing what sorts of things their skills can do beyond who were at that meeting, which I think was the plan anyway.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't do a very good job engaging the new players this time, and that's entirely on us.
And I think as a player council, that should be another step in our process is actually be more inclusive of the new players that come in. So I really feel like I didn't step up in that round, and I'm sorry about that. And next time, learning steps.
I was thinking in game, we already have the welcome to town meeting where everybody gets in a big circle and we talk about everything. I think that it wouldn't be a difficult extension to, after that, pull the new players aside and have a, new drop orientation simultaneously in character and out of character, where we find a way in character to explain out of character things that they need to know.
Well, and that's a really good suggestion, at least from an in-character standpoint. So that would be something that you could bring up as Quark to the leadership. But at this point, this is getting into what your characters should do in game.
Yeah, that's fair. I did have one other topic that I wanted to bring up. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Okay.
I'm on a. I think my connection is kind of bad. I'm on a slight delay.
I was going to say one of the things that we're going to do moving forward is opening announcements takes way too long, and that's part of that is because we're doing a rules overview, and that can really be split out to just the new players, the new drops. So moving forward, opening announcements is going to be much shorter and simply go over the meta techniques for safety, and then we will pull aside all of the new players and go over, do a little more comprehensive mechanics orientation from that point forward.
That would be a good thing to have out next to the drop pod.
Right.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Because I noticed that there were some new players. While during orientation that weren't actually in the feast hall. They were actually having a conversation among themselves. So it would probably be off and sort of bring them into a circle where they're a captive audience, so that we can make sure that we are clear when we give them their new player orientation.
I think that's a good idea.
Cool.
And Douglas, you have anything you want to talk about?
Yeah, I had one other thing that has been a problem for me, and then I noticed somebody in the Facebook group was asking. So I wanted to bring it up. Eric was asking the date of the next game. And I have noticed on both
Go ahead and
Facebook
finish your
pages,
thought, sorry.
there are no future events. Yeah, on the Facebook page, there are no future events, which makes it kind of hard to plan. In my case, I have been able to go to the Bayou's schedule, their events, and that says when the upcoming Planetfall games are. But I think it would be a lot easier for us to actually post events on the Planetfall page as well.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry,
absolutely.
not the Bayou, the Cauldron.
Yes, I absolutely agree. When I originally made all of those events, I was a total noob, and I made them under my own Facebook profile and not profile of the Planetfall Sci-Fi LARP page. And I was trying to avoid confusion, but I see I'm only creating confusion by not making a separate group of events. So I'll probably I can't deny it anymore. I'm doing more harm than good in my attempt not to cause confusion. So later tonight I will make new events on the Planetfall Sci-Fi LARP page.
Yeah, cool.
And we actually already have our dates for next season, so I'll just go ahead and make events for all those too.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
Excellent.
Was that it, Douglas?
Yes, that is the culmination of my issues. The cat just made a mess.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That is the culmination of all your
Douglas
issues.
deals with that. Morgan.
Hi.
Okay.
Can you hear me? With this
Specifically
thing?
for this.
Yeah.
Can you all hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So actually, this is a conversation that was brought up at LARP Meetup, just because it was just one of those things that sort of wrapped around as well. It's the ideologies that this game's this campaign or season or timeline or whatever you want to call it. It's been going on for like a year now, a year and a half or so, and some people are starting to feel they're getting to this point where they're getting stuck. And so we actually had a discussion about like when campaign LARP start to roll on a bit, and if you don't mind, I have notes that I took.
So if you have design notes, that's kind of a different thing, and
It's
want to
more
hear
of a
those.
player compass as well, not as a design compass. I mean, I have design notes as well, but
Oh, okay.
also player notes. My foot's falling asleep,
Okay.
so sorry. Let's see. So it really depends on your playstyle itself. I mean, Planetfall itself develops a lot more things. Like you have your crunchy things where you get your numbers, you have your role play, you have your open sandbox sort of style, you have your narrative standpoints. That's all great, but whenever it comes to like certain different LARPs and whatnot, especially with reactive players, they need something to react to, and sometimes they don't feel like they get that. And sometimes whenever we say, yeah, it's a sandbox, it's very open, bring your own basket, which I guess if a lot of people don't know means bring, your own story and all that with it. Some people don't know what to put in the basket. They're new, they don't really know what to bring into the storyline as well. So with that, we should have players, and as us being player council, we've been here for a while. I will admit it, we've been here for a good while. We old. So what we can do as player council is to start, I guess, working with that as well and trying to bring more in. Like I know Timeline 1 had like the flag raising ceremony, or like the what else did we have? Shit. Anywho, you know what I'm talking about. So if you were part of season 1, and just encourage these sort of like character driven plots and like trying to push along with it, and also trying to bring more people into like stories and stuff. Like for me, the reason why I play Fuentes is because I wanted to give people to like a thing to play off of. The reason why I played Samira is because like it was the first game and I didn't know what to play. Now that I'm playing in Morales, I'm just want to not only be a gun toter but also try to bring in other guns as well and see how we can go with that. So I think we just really need to start with the gaming itself. And looping back to what Bryce and Douglas were talking about as well, is start bringing people in and pushing forward what we have. And even if people feel like there is a lull, we as players should try to push storyline, or at least some sort of story as well. So if you guys have ideas, I love to help out with them, about what kind of stories we can go with, or like what kind of like our own plot that we can do that probably drive Michelle and Todd crazy. But yeah, so I'm here to open and listen and try to see what we can do as players to keep things interesting and fun from our perspectives. And if people are starting to feel stale, that we can, bring them back, because I don't want anybody to leave because they're not having fun at LARP. That makes me feel bad as a player.
One of my observations has always been that American players need more kind of like a mechanical alibi to interact with other players. So one of the things that really worked out with last timeline is that people brought in their ideologies, they brought in their ideas, and they decided to play for what's interesting and reveal things about them and start trouble. And start arguments and start treating things like they're serious. And I think that we just need to dispel the idea that is, we don't do that, but there's all this crap that comes from other parts of gaming culture that says that if you introduce anything on your own, you're somehow a disruptive, horrible person, as opposed to someone who's role playing. So, and that's one thing I've never seen.
Side note, I'm freaking out because my foot's asleep, so sorry.
I'm sorry.
I definitely want to encourage both you guys, because we depend on you guys who are members of the player council and people who ran for player council. You're the ones who are the most engaged and invested in sort of the experience. And I just want to encourage all of our players to not be afraid to, if there is a lull, to sit down next to somebody and try to start a conversation. And even if you're playing a grumpy, unfriendly character, to be open to having a conversation. If Morales sits down next to somebody and my character hates cops, I'm still going to have a conversation with Morales, because otherwise we're both just sitting there having our internal monologues. And for some people that's really great, but it doesn't really help much with the ambiance. One thing that I tried to do as Jay, I would talk to myself. So even when I was having my own personal intense inner monologue, I was still speaking and saying something that would sometimes give people something to overhear and comment on and start a conversation that way.
In a world full of Striders, be a hobbit.
Yeah, even Strider started conversations. So
no, he did this and smoked a pipe.
After he was done being mysterious in the corner.
Yeah.
He did that for the first couple pages, and then afterwards he was engaged in the group. So yeah, I definitely want to encourage people to interact. And a lot of the mechanics that we put in are just excuses to have conversations. It's just me trying to give you guys things to talk about. I'm really glad that everybody is embracing the R&D actions to let us know what kinds of things that you want. But one of the things that I probably be doing is I need to talk to Todd about this, but reducing the time that it takes to complete the R&D action, because what's important about the R&D action, primarily we want to know what sorts of things, what sorts of content you want us to develop for you, but the most important thing about the R&D action is that you're supposed to go out and talk to other people about it. I saw something today, which is another thing that I want to encourage, especially our veteran players, to consider and to actively express, especially to newer players, is I saw something that somebody said once. It was on, I want to say it was on the Plastidip artist group, but it was a conversation between an inexperienced person and an experienced person. And the experienced person says, I might say to you, that probably won't work. But I want you to know that when I say that, that doesn't mean don't do it. So me, I know once new drop comes up and wants burning down the clicker marsh, like, you want to say that probably won't work, but at some point, maybe it would be if someone actually lit fire to that place, So, I understand that from be realistic, but also, no, Douglas, no, we cannot hear you. That is because you are muted. Try to use a little bit of steering so that you can still be encouraging and inclusive while you're also playing your character.
Another really good tip is to have what I like to call the Royale with Cheese conversation, in which, if you've seen Pulp Fiction, the first 5 minutes or 10 minutes is the two hitmen on the way to kill the guy having a conversation about how they call quarter pounders in Europe Royales with cheese. And that's the actual point of that scene. Not the guy dying, not the hitman killing guy, but the conversation that happens on the way there. And every single part of your interactions with other characters is an opportunity to have something that moves your story forward. And another thing and I'm going to steal this, I believe it's a John Wick thing that he said, but he said, if something doesn't show up in actual play, it doesn't exist, and thus your history is meaningless if you don't insert it into play. So feel free to. There's no gotchas in Planetfall. That's not how anyone rolls here. There's no you open the door and rocks falls and you die. If you do fuck up, we try to make it interesting. Everyone is here to make sure that you have an interesting time, and you shouldn't be afraid of doing something just because you did, so you did this, and thus I, as the GM, or they as the GMs, can come down on you. We've never had a plot like that. So, do the dumb, do the bold thing, and like engage with things, and try to have both those conversations and push forward and do that sort of thing. Because I can say in 2 years of running it and a year of supporting it, I've never seen a game in which you guys hit every single plot and completed every project. And many times things were left out in the field and were never found. So don't ever sit around and say, I guess nothing's happening, because there's never been a situation in which you guys actually bled a game dry. That has never happened.
It's true.
There's a thing out in the field that has been there since I think it was game one. I'm like,
Oh no.
and it has been on the
we
field,
put it
and
out
nobody
every
can
time.
understand it.
I
What's
have one more thing, if y'all don't mind. It's just some points that
Sure.
I can pass. So these are just like little points that we written up just so I have it. Number one, players are more important than the game itself. So let's talk as players if we need to get things going, if we want to get things in things. Steering is good. If you are having a hard time, you're more than welcome to take me, or I'm more than welcome to go off game for a little bit and like make a game plan of what we want to do or what you want to do, and I could, that's what we want to do, and you can plan it and we can go do it, and it'd be great. Let's see here. Things to chew on as players in general is what scenes do you like, or what do you like to play, and then reflect on what you want or bring to the game. So what do you want for as a game itself? Do you want to go out and like mine, which you can do that? Do you want a deep meaning story that you have connections with other people? Do you want to like have some like revolt and like take over the colony? What as you as a player want to see your character do? So these are just some thoughts. Take it as you will. Do I have anything else? Yeah, but if people want to come talk to me about anything in game, please let me know. My message box is always open. I may not always be there, but it's open. So yeah.
And players are always free to build out of character. Out of character, basically say, "Hey, I really want to, you know, make use of the friendly enemies rule. It's been in there for a long time. If you say, "Hey, Bryce, I really want our characters to hate each other and get into a fight. Is that cool with you?" And Bryce goes, "Okay," because that's the kind of guy he is. Feel free to throw your own like shoes into the gears. It's as long as it's not metagamey, as long as you're not like, "Hey, you and me should suddenly be best friends," and then kill Todd, right? That's not good. But we have this,
Well, I haven't done the next game.
Yeah, I mean, everyone wants to kill Todd, right? Because if you kill Todd, the plots go away. But
No, then the other spire drones come for vengeance.
We exist to die.
Exist
there's little
insane.
suicide bombers. But the thing comes to is that there's this idea, oh, you can't metagame, and there's never been this idea that we can just like I had this conversation and we decided to set up an interesting personal interaction, and it blew up into huge drama. And no one has ever kicked down the door as a GM and said, "Yes, and that means you're a horrible person and we're going to punish you for it." It's been like, cool.
Yeah,
it's the good. Gaming is not inherently bad. It can be bad or it can be good. It depends on how you're doing it.
Especially if you're planning out how best to have fun, and it doesn't hurt anybody
at no one else's expense.
Right.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt Bryce for you to go up and say, "Hey, Bryce, I think it would be cool if we had this like low grade sort of competition between each other and between ourselves, and we are constantly trying to outdo each other in how much wood we can gather." Do you want to be on the winning side of that or the losing side of that?
Yeah. And the easy guideline is that as long as everyone who would be reasonably affected by this, like if you're playing a father and a mother-daughter and you decide that you want another person to be their father, like make sure that all three of those people agree to that, right? Because those are the three people who are going to be affected by your conversation. So as long as everyone who would be reasonably affected by what you did consents to it, and it does not involve like secrets that there's good reason not to know, you're all smart people. Generally, and this goes for all games, that is fine for steering. That is not metagaming. If you're gaining some big advantage over everyone else and it seems sloppy, talk to a GM and they will give you guidance. But in general, I want to have drama with you is never metagaming.
Yep.
What was that? Oh, also, we did get we didn't get a lot of responses to the player survey within the time allotted. But some of the responses we did get mentioned that there was a problem with a lot of people going out of character once they left town. And then we sort of, Todd and I talked about it, and we realized going all the way out to the parking lot is kind of not entirely feasible. So we're going to try to figure out somewhere where we can set up a shade tent or something where people can go to sit and have out-of-character conversations, where they can have their conversations and not interfere with anybody trying to have a moment. And that's something that Todd and I realized that we weren't being very helpful on when we were sitting in the feast hall. So we're probably going to move GMHQ somewhere else so that people can come to us with their questions when we're not roaming around to be available. And also we're going to find somewhere closer to town that is also comfortable where people can go and have out-of-character conversations. But if we would like people to try to aim to stay in character for as much of the weekend as possible.
Just throwing it out there, the bar usually doesn't have anybody doing anything in it. That is a possible location for either GM HQ or out of character. There's very rarely.
The Cypunks are building like an alleyway that's going to come off of the bar, and also you might also look into the DJ booth area because there seems to be nothing going on there either.
I was actually thinking the DJ booth area would be a good place for out of character because it's easily accessible but off to the side, so people having conversations would just provide a background noise. And it's still vaguely sheltered, so that if there's weather, they'll be safe. And we'll stick a rest spot one back there as well.
Where's the DJ booth?
It's where the rider skull is in the arena behind it. Like that little raised area that overlooks the.
I didn't look that way last time. That's new.
I was thinking of for the OOC area was the bar. I mean that was what I had in mind because those OOC conversations have a tendency to happen in the mess hall. So the bar is right next door. So when people start talking out of character, you can just kind of shunt them one room over.
The problem is that the bar is going to get expanded, and it's probably going to be a larger space that's more of like a transit point.
Okay.
Also, crafting areas are being placed in the bar, so I would rather at least one crafting area either has already been placed or will be in the bar area. So I kind of feel like a corner of the bar area would be best for GM HQ.
Okay. And
the DJ booth area, we could put a table and some chairs back there for people. Would be better for OOC. Talk more about this, especially once we get a chance to see what changes the Cypunks have made to the little town in the meantime.
I know they're working like gangbusters right now on it because Wasteland War is coming up, so they're working on a whole bunch of changes for that.
Right.
So because they want to expand that area.
So do we have? I have one more thing to announce, but it doesn't have. It can wait until after player council. Do you have anything else you want to bring up?
I don't believe so.
Do we have anybody with eyes on the chat? See if any questions have come up there.
There has been a comment so far. Brian mentioned that the bar has gotten quite a bit of use as in-game space as well.
Yeah.
So I think maybe keeping GM and out of character maybe further away, like that DJ booth area, that'd be really good in my opinion. Just pushing it off to the side, because if that's where gameplay is going to be, then
yeah. We didn't pitch our ludicrously large tent last game because it was going to rain, and I hate putting away wet tents. But we'll probably set up our ludicrously large tent either in a corner of the town yard or just outside of town, and that we might work. I think we'll be working out of that from now on, even if it does rain. I'll just deal with it.
The other possibility is that the keep that they built in the middle of town that's kind of locked off. You might ask them to use it. I'll show you if you're out this weekend. But they have now hidey holes for specific riders have their little hidey holes, and they would be able to give us that kind of like the storage area. Except for those who haven't been out there, they've doubled the size of the city. And there's a whole bunch of stuff. And there's these standalone buildings there. So you might ask about getting one of those and turning it in, because those would be easy to slip into, but they're built to be somewhat secluded at the same time. But we're getting into the weeds. We can talk about this.
Okay, sorry about
we
that.
Never see each other, Michelle.
So one thing that I wanted to mention, you might have noticed a little while ago, I posted about quest night with Scare for a Cure. and they are looking for volunteers. So one of the things that Todd and I discussed, volunteering for Quest Night is a lot of fun and kind of its own reward. And give me a second because my Amazon Prime Now order is here. I'll be right back.
And we wait.
So let's say what we really think about Michelle. Todd, you start.
Oh no, that's so bad. Oh no. She's a fantastic human being, and I love her.
Why is how we really feel about Michelle a bad thing? How do you really feel about Michelle, Todd?
So something that Todd and I discussed, we wanted to thank our players who, went out and helped this worthy cause. We don't give AP for anything other than attending Planetfall events, but what we would like to do is, if you go and you do at least a shift with Quest Night, you will be able to scan a special code at the May game that will allow you to find an extra drop of material.
Fiesta flavored chone. Good.
So with Quest Night itself, I do want to let you know that when you volunteer, you actually volunteer not only a shift, but from what I remember is that you also have to volunteer build time as well. So they're actually having a volunteer kickoff, I think this Sunday, I believe.
Yep, this Sunday.
Yeah. So I think you have to do volunteering.
The volunteer party is on, I want to say it's the 18th. The details are in the Facebook post that I made. I'll repost it. All you have to do to get on the list to receive that drop is if you go to the kickoff meeting and you fill out the volunteer form, you basically let them know on that form that you're a Planetfall player, and they will create a list for us so that we know who to give the reward to. And there's also an email address that you can contact to if you can't go to the kickoff meeting and that you're interested. You also would let them know in that email if if that's how you're letting them know you're interested in volunteering. So all of that information will be in a post that I'll repost to the Planetfall Sci-Fi LARP page and share it to the player group. So it'll be in a couple of places where you can easily find it.
On an additional note, if you can't volunteer, Quest Night is a fantastically fun time. It is like a fan.
Oh my god!
Yeah. So you could also go there and just give them money and have a wonderful night with a bunch of friends. That is another possibility. Which is
and if you have a ticket stub, then Todd, what do you think about if somebody has a ticket stub for Quest Night, we let them scan the thing?
Fiesta flavored chone.
Sure.
Okay, so either go and volunteer or go buy a ticket, and it probably won't involve Fiesta flavored chone.
Movie night flavored chone.
No promises though.
Cajun.
Okay, that actually sounds pretty good.
Cajun flavored chone just has lots of pepper on it.
Prawn
which is not
salad.
Cajun.
No, we all know it's spooky chon.
Does anyone else have any announcements or obviously this weekend is Wasteland War at our same at the event space where we go to at Cauldron's Keep. It is $20 tickets, or if you want to play an advanced character, in which case it's an extra
$5.
$5. So it's $20 to $25.
25 to 30. 25 to 30, but yes.
$25 to $30. It looks like a good fun time. we're hoping to be out this end, but if Todd's not feeling well, then we might have to skip it.
Yeah.
But other than that, Matt, do you have anything to announce?
So the Sprite Punks just wanted me to say that they're really looking forward to seeing as many Planetfall people out there as possible. We're also getting like Anne and a few other people are coming down. They haven't been able to get down for a while. And let's see. I also like to thank all the Planetfall people who got the word out for A War of Our Own, which was the one-shot LARP we ran for charity. You guys did a great job. A lot of people heard it through you guys. And also, I noticed that some people who played A War of Our Own are coming to play Planetfall because they think that we're awesome. So that was good. Yay! And there's like some players from Dallas and Houston that came for A War of Our Own, and they're deliberately coming down to check you guys out. So beat them with sticks, because obviously since they played A War of Our Own, they enjoyed the pain.
Beat them with foam.
No,
Yeah.
shoot them with Nerf guns, duh. Like, just
With foam.
pew, pew, pew.
Yeah, pew pew pew. Foam sticks. There you go. Yeah, clicker sticks. That sounds like an excellent snack. Try new clicker sticks. Anyways,
Clicker sticks.
if you guys haven't already, please like and follow the Jackalope Live Action Studios. Me and Steve Metz are going to have some big announcements coming out this month that I think everyone's going to be excited about. I can't talk about them yet because lawyers, but it's going to be pretty cool. So that's really the only announcements. Also, I just want to say I am, and partially the reason I'm here is that Incognito Limited and Jackalope are still supporting Planetfall. We are still pushing stuff. We're going to be doing more coding as our schedule frees up and everything like that. So don't think for one moment that we aren't 100% backing, line backing all this. And we're really looking forward to making sure that this game grows, and we're taking steps to make sure it does. So, and that's pretty much all I have to say about that.
Cool. Well then, Todd, do you have anything?
No, ma'am.
Okay. In that case, thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for attending. I really appreciate it. We're gonna have a writers meeting soon. We have added Jack Weeks to our writers team, along with Brian. So that's going to make things a lot easier for Todd and I. Just a note, Jack and Brian are playing. So if you have Spire Drone questions, please continue to come see Todd and I. But if the person isn't wearing a high-vis vest, please don't, please let them enjoy their playtime. We trust these guys not to take advantage of knowledge that they have from the writer being writers, and like Jack said, I gotta have my fix, man. So please do play with them and understand that at game they are players just like you guys.
Will the inclusion of Jack Weeks mean that the clickers now will not have Russian accents?
I don't know how you use a cricket clicker with a Russian accent. So if you want to pretend you're a Russian, then I'm not going to stop. You guys are the authors of your own character inner monologues. There might be a magpie with a Russian accent, but I don't know.
I'm not actually brain damage from cryo freeze.
All right. So in that on that bombshell, I hereby pronounce the Planetfall Players Council meeting over. Thank you very much.
One thing.
What? Yes?
Good night, everybody.
Weren't you guys doing something at Alcon?
Oh, duh. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Todd is a member of Mythos Houston, and do you wanna say something about that, Todd?
Sure. Yeah, so we are running a LARP at the Alcon Gaming Convention in Houston. It's on the campus of Rice University, which is why it's called Alcon. So they're at mascots the Al. And it is the last weekend of February, which is I forget, the 22nd, 23rd, something like that.
Yep.
So there will be several LARPs at Alcon. The one we are running is going to be so our group puts on a HP Lovecraft themed LARP every year. So this year we are kind of branching off from traditional Lovecraft stuff. We're doing sort of a mashup of Lovecraftian themes and Star Trek. So that will be a little off the beaten path. But if you like classic sci-fi or Lovecraft or Cthulhuid stuff, come check it out. It's Saturday evening. It starts at 9 p.m. And there's also going to be a Firefly LARP earlier in the day on Saturday. And then a couple of other LARP themed events. I think somebody is running Ghost Court by Jason Morningstar on Friday. And Alcon also has lots of non-LARP gaming. There's a million tabletop RPGs, war games, board games, like every type of in-person gaming you could possibly want. Alcon has Pathfinder. If you're into Pathfinder Society stuff, there's a whole bunch of those.
No, the best game, my favorite game that I have ever played now, Todd and I played in last year, and it was a vintage, really well-preserved copy of the Rocky and Bullwinkle, Dudley Do-Right role-playing game, and it was hilarious. So it's really cool. People bring their own, board games and games to run at this convention, and last year I ran Sign Edit, and you can play some really awesome, cool stuff at Alcon. And the character signups for the Cthulhu LARP are already up. So we'll post a link to that in the player group.
Todd?
Yeah?
I'll do it. I totally will do it.
You totally will do it.
Oh my god.
What? Huh? What are you talking about, Matt? Oh.
Look at Matt.
This is legit. It's real.
Why is this a thing that exists?
Because in the 80s, they didn't know how to do RPGs. They were throwing shit at the wall and see what sticks. It was glorious.
Amazing.
Matt,
it's legit.
Do it. Next year, sign up to run it.
It's still sealed. We bought it for $1.
That's beautiful.
Nice. And according to the RPG Net review, it's actually not bad. All right, sorry.
All right, and on that I think we will end it there.
Yeah. Oh, small author's note. The Cthulhu live game at Al University is the first LARP I ever played in.
Oh.
Way back in the day. Yeah. So
is there somewhere I can type text where the people watching can see it?
Yeah.
I think I'm in the group chat.
If you want me to type something, I can type it. Or
okay, sure. Yeah, just to put in a link to the Alcon website. It's just alcon.com.
Okay.
Cool.
Alrighty.
I know I'm a little bit late, but if we play that board game, will it turn out to have all been a dream all along?
Oh no, that's not a board game. That's an RPG.
What?
It's a Dallas.
Also, you're thinking of the wrong show.
Yeah, that's General Hospital.
And St. Elsewhere.
Oh no, there was an entire episode of Dallas,
Yeah.
which was an entire season that turned out to be just a dream.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
right.
that's what I was talking about.
Listen, more than one show did that.
Yes, but what's really weird is in Dallas they had a spin-off show, and they spun off during that season.
Oh no!
So they still exist in the dream timeline.
Wow,
I see.
And then they started having crossovers from the not dream
Okay.
timeline.
that's weird.
It got weird. There's the like
80s, everyone
expanded
was on
Dallas
TV.
universe. Yeah, the expanded Dallas universe gets weird.
Turns out they're all Neomancers.
Nice.
Right. All right. If you ever want to hear about the
All
weirdness
right.
of Dallas,
Good night, everybody.
let Steph know. She'll tell you. All right.
Say goodnight, Grace.
Good night.
All right.
Good night, Grace.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for
Good
listening.
night, Bob. Good night, Timmy. Good
Night,
night, Tom.
Joanne. Night, Billy Joe.
You did that too well.
What?
All right.
What?
We're done.
So long,
And
farewell,
goodbye.
I'll be losing.
Wait.